Jean is having difficulty getting her audio on, so she'll call the meeting to order in a minute. She's gonna have to log in through her phone, so she'll be right with us. She's tried twice.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna, hopefully I don't look like I'm needing subtitles underneath my speaking. I'll call the meeting to order at 3:06, this special meeting. We'll get right to number 2, transfer station manager job description. I'm gonna share my screen. So that we can sort of walk through this. So it's using the same template as the transfer station attendant that was passed at last month's Board of Selectmen meeting. Just reading down, the class is accountable for the management and supervision of the Kent transfer station in compliance with deep regulation. So that's just a broad stroke of the job. supervision received, works under the direct supervision of the first selectman. Hours of work. This job classification is part-time hourly position approved annually in the town's budget. General work hours correspond with operating hours of Kent Transfer Station, as well as meetings required in support of the job class. And then it goes right into the examples of duties. So started with more broad and then got into a little bit more specific. So it's supervision, scheduling coverage for the operating hours, contacting haulers for removal of different waste and recycling. Right now, Joyce is doing that. Assist permit holders and the proper disposal of items accepted at the transfer station, provides management and oversight of transfer station attendance to ensure compliance with obtaining deep landfill operator certification. Operates the cash register, handles money in efficient and responsible manner, makes bank deposits. That I've just started doing that maybe 3 weeks ago. Barbara helped me she came up with a little packet that has everything. So we're able to do those bank deposits each night. Issues permits to residents, maintains a safe and clean work environment, works with first selectman administrative assistant to facilitate annual transfer station permit renewal application mailing. Right now, Joyce does that from start to finish. Attends and participates in meetings related to transfer station operators to continually improve services offered at the facility. Right now, Joyce attends the recycling regional, help me out here, Joyce, regional recycling task force meeting, which is a sort of an offshoot, would you say, of HRRA?
Yes.
And then we both have been sort of tag teaming on the transfer station operators meetings, which is the more operational meetings that they also do through HRRA. Assists public and supervises attendance and proper disposal. I think that's redundant now that I'm reading the whole paragraph. And then other related duties as assigned. Knowledge, skill, and ability is, I believe, the same as it was before. Knowledge of municipal solid waste and recycling processes, ability to utilize computers and software, good math and organizational skills, and understanding of office procedures, interpersonal skills, ability to work with the general public in a collegial, polite manner, ability to understand regulations, ability to receive supervision from first selectman. Minimum qualifications, that was how it stood before. And then special requirements, obtaining that deep certification within 1 year of hire date, and then working conditions as down to the next page there, which is the same as the transfer station attendant one. So I think most of the discussion is, did we get everything included here? This is, right now it's approved for 17 hours a week. Because there's more that this person is going to be expected of them, I anticipate that next year's budget cycle, the hourly will go up a little bit. The number of hours a week, just from, how often are the recycling task force meetings, Joyce? Are those monthly?
They are, but there's a difference between the transfer station attendance meeting and then the recycling coordinator meeting. So there's two different meetings, but there is one for managers of the transfer station that they would attend.
And is there any?
If I may. How many hours is Joyce spending on the pieces that she's covering presently? So how many hours is Joyce spending on this that, doing this administrative component? Do we know?
It varies, obviously, during the first few months of selling the permits. It's a lot more, but on average, it's probably a couple hours a week, maybe 2 or 3 hours a week. And then if there's a meeting, a few more hours for that.
Mhm.
I think where we want this to go is really that this person should be the point person for the transfer station, versus having it sort of split between Joyce and the transfer station manager.
Well, possibly. The reason I say that is the selectman's office is a little bit more in control of what's going on with respect to knowing if things are being done. And so I see some value in that. I don't know, but I'm not, I would lean on you and Joyce in terms of operations to see if it's easy, smooth on that. I have another question on, because it's talking about computer skills. Do we have an actual database that they use down there with a computer as to when I pull in, they can just say, yeah, Chris Garrity, even though I may or may not have a sticker, is there anything that says computer wise?
Nope. There should be.
I mean, I'm looking for, I would think, just in my mind, is we should be take the opportunity now to streamline this position as much as we can. And whether that streamlining means offloading it to the selectman's office or it's technology or it's something else. I don't know. I just think that this is a good time to do it.
Yeah, there's definitely technology that's available out there that will do a better job than an Excel spreadsheet that's got to get printed out every week, so that we make sure we have the most current one during the renewal sort of process season. I also get a lot of folks who want to buy their permit with a credit card, don't have cash or don't have checks. So it goes, back around to that. I think we can improve efficiency, definitely. We have to be able to, we're gonna have to, in the next budget cycle, that may include getting internet up there. There's a phone line there, but there's no service that's turned on. Joyce is looking into the cost for that and what that would be as far as having internet access up there.
Well, to me, it would only be worth doing that if indeed we're saving money in terms of man hours or people hours in terms of whoever's attending. But I would think all of that stuff could be pretty much online. And in fact, if I drive in and I want to dump stuff, I would think I should be able to do that, provide my name, my address, and my license plate. That could go right into a main database and I'd be charged automatically.
Yep.
I mean, I think this is just the opportunity. I don't know whether, Joyce, do you know if there are any programs out there that you've seen operationally?
I haven't looked into any, but Jean has some.
Yeah. There definitely are. It's out there ready to go. I had a demo, I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago of one of the companies. But yes, that's where we're heading.
I mean, I don't know about you, Ed, but my thinking is there really shouldn't be any payment at the transfer station at all.
Except for the bulky waste stuff that people bring. That's kind of hard to plan ahead for.
But even that could be filled out. That could be, through a form.
Yeah, instead of being billed on site, you could be billed afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking,
Exactly.
and I mean, there's a security safety issue, but it's more about, it just takes time to handle a transaction that could just simply be a boom, boom, done. But having to what a pain to have to deposit money and you know, as a
Count
requirement. Yeah, of a requirement. You know, I always thought that was silly that Bruce had to collect the coins from the shower. I mean, what a dumb thing that, you know, it's just bad labor intensive stuff. So
Yeah.
I would think that this is the opportunity to get cash out of the situation, get a better system for permitting. I don't know if Joyce has been pretty much on the front lines for years with this permitting. Is there a better, easier, different way we can do it? Take that out of it so that we don't have to add more man hours to next year's budget, but keep it at you know.
So we redid the form this year and added, if you would like to receive your renewal application via email, and that was sort of leaning ahead to exactly what you're talking about, Chris, which is, you know, I go to the Town of Kent website and I either log into my portal or I click on I want to, and it comes up with buy a transfer station permit, and you click on it and it brings you to a simple form and it saves your information for the following year, so that the following year you'll get a notification reminder that, oh, it's you know, mid-May or mid-June or whatever, it's time to pay for your annual transfer station permit. So they would get a notification that would bring them right to an interface where they pay for it online. We have to figure out what's the physical widget, and maybe it's not a physical widget or it's something different. I have noticed that, you know, car model design has changed, so a lot of people don't have the ability to hang a tag on their rear view mirror anymore because rear view mirrors are designed differently. So maybe we have to look at something for next year that's not a hang tag. Maybe it's a sticker, or, you know, I don't know what.
Why couldn't it just be license plates? You put it in numerical order, and you have a sheet, and someone comes in and they scan right down it and see it, boom. And in fact, that would solve the problem where, you know, I get a sticker and I only have one, so it goes on my, you know, one vehicle, but then Karen goes down and she uses her vehicle and she doesn't have a sticker.
Right.
Well, if you have two plates on it, because that's what it is, then you've got those two plates.
Right, and we take the plate numbers anyway.
Well, I mean, to me, that's a more logical way than sticking something on your car.
Right, that's a whole nother arbitrary.
But
Yeah.
what I'm just going after is specific man hours in these tasks that are less important than the task at hand of moving stuff into bins.
Mm-hmm.
And I would encourage us to find that and reduce this person's hours to really focused on, you know, whatever's that task there, and actually would give them more time to, when it's closed, to actually have people hours to do those kind of things they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's just sort of my reaction.
Yeah, and the other piece that, which we probably should add, is some sort of, you know, the transfer station manager should be looking at those tonnage reports and, you know, bringing back to the Board of Selectmen recommendations, or where, you know, we need to do this better, we need to do this better, we should add this service, or, you know, this is costing too much and this is a better way to do it. So analyzing the business.
I agree. You know, I would think that there would be a simpler, easier way for the treasurer just to get direct payments in effect, and not even bypass. In fact, these people shouldn't be dealing with money at all. It should just totally. Mm-hmm. They should be focused on what they have to be focused on, which is hard enough.
Yep.
Not managing people, and so I don't know how you effectuate that and how quickly you can ramp something up, but I would be in favor of acquiring a piece of software or a piece of something that would probably wipe out, you know, save us after 5 or 6 weeks. Just in people hours.
Yeah. I,
And then I would then heavily emphasize, and in terms of examples of duties, which would be to analyze the business, to bring to the selectmen annually a report as to how we're going to make this more efficient.
I'm typing into this last
I can see.
sentence. Okay.
I would put in there some sort of annual report
Yep.
to the Board of Selectmen. Excuse me a second.
Why this keeps changing font size? Joyce, what's that? You do a recycling report for DEEP every year,
Yep, it's the annual recycling report.
and that only goes up to DEEP.
Correct.
Okay.
What's that entail typically, Joyce?
Just gathering up all the tonnage and vendors throughout the year. But I do monthly reports and stuff, so it makes it a little bit easier. It's not
And
that difficult.
Is that all online?
It is now, yes. Mhm.
And is it all like pre-fill, kind of check here, check there, add this tonnage?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joyce, I'd like to get your opinion on what I was sort of leaning into a little bit is the amount of work and the focus of the couple of hours to do this. Do you see a good thing to have the control within the town hall rather than transfer station, or a bad thing, or just neutral?
Well, it really depends. I mean, if our office isn't going to do it anymore, then the person who's managing it is going to need to, in addition to do weekend hours, is going to have to come into the office or have some way to communicate, I would think, during the week, because they work only on the weekends, and hopefully Jean won't be working there every weekend for eternity. So, I think that either they have to work a couple hours during the week somehow, which might be difficult to fill the position then, or, we still need to be involved a little bit, because otherwise it's just a department out there hanging.
Right. Right. So if I'm understanding you correctly, is we would have to expend more hours, you would think, certainly during the weekday for catch-up or reports or things like that, which we handle right now fairly fluidly?
Right, which I do, because generally you're going to have to call the vendors, and they're not open on Sunday for sure. So
Gotcha.
Somebody's going to have to come in to do that on Monday. If there's any deposits to be done or any of that sort of stuff. Yep.
Well, given that, it sounds to me like to keep that in-house would make more sense rather than to put it onto a person who is, but man, I'm open to listening to your guys' ideas and thoughts.
But I think the calling the vendors, I think it makes sense for the transition manager. Don't you think so, Joyce? I mean, right now it's sort of this cumbersome you know, if Mondays are like today, right, where it's, you know, extremely busy, and it's, you know, it's up to somebody to remember to, oh, is the metal full? Well, the metal seems full, the metal container, but Rick hasn't pounded it down. So if he pounds it down, is that going to give us another weekend before we have to get another pull? Or do we need to pull it this week? And then it's the phone call. But instead, it could be the person who is managing all of the other operations of the transfer station, and he talks directly to Rick, and makes that phone call Monday morning, because that's the task that he has to do, and not Joyce and myself and Rick and all the other tasks that we have to do on Mondays. So it's, I mean, he's that person, that position, I see moving, you know, towards that subject matter expert for the transfer station.
How had we been doing it?
I'm sorry?
How had we been doing it? Had we
Joyce
been
was
doing
making-
it the way we're suggesting, or has it been the way Joyce and everyone's been covering that way?
It's been more of the covering for a long while.
So to Joyce's point, do we think we can find an individual who can do all of that and is willing to do that, and not, you know, because if it's a part-time gig and they have another full-time gig during the week, are we going to be able to have somebody do that?
I think I have to find out.
I'm sorry, I lost you. I lost you. Say that again, Jean.
To some extent, we're going to have to, you know, find out if there are candidates who are, you know, who want the position.
Okay. Yeah, I guess part of it's a guess, isn't it, though, to say that, you know, if you expand the hours, it then becomes less of a part-time gig on weekends, and it becomes sort of a more of a part-time spillover into other time that person could go elsewhere to earn.
And can I ask a question? This is what I've been having dealings with, and how much of this time, technically the transfer station is supposed to be paid for by the people that use it and not by the people that don't use it. And that's why I brought up before, years ago, maybe it's time to look into curbside pickup like Warren does and include it in your taxes, so the taxpayer, everybody's paying for it. And maybe run the transfer station open 1 or 2 days a month for the metal and the bulky waste items. And if we ever, I don't think we've gotten any new updated prices for curbside pickup. And that would eliminate all of this stuff.
Well, it would, we still need some sort of manager. We're still, I don't know how that whole, like, changing the model would change the way that we function within HRRA and what our, you know, responsibilities as an HRRA authority.
Yep.
Town. It's a
And
bigger question.
When is our HRRA contract up?
I don't.
We re-signed one?
I think we did, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did.
Like a contract that expires? I'd have to, Joyce, do we have a contract that expires with HRRA?
I believe we do, and I don't know what the expiration date is.
I think, aren't they
Yeah.
5-year commitments?
That's something
I don't
like that.
And I think I remember having one signed 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
I
But
don't know.
I think, Ed, I hear you, and I think that that's a good analysis. I think that analysis has to
Maybe the new manager can do that.
yeah, has to be.
As long as we can prove to the people that don't use the transfer station that it's not costing them money. And it sounds like to me like we have a lot of people doing stuff that's incorporated into their daily work. And is the transfer station covering the hours of that added work that they're doing? Or are we just kind of doing it under the table and telling everybody, yeah, the transfer station is covering itself? Or do we need to raise fees for the transfer station?
Well, is it operating at a loss, or is it operating net neutral? Do we know?
I don't.
What's our revenue on it?
I don't have an up-to-date budget in front of me, but I believe the last word from Barbara was that we run it. It almost pays for itself.
So we don't. It's not net neutral. It runs at a slight deficit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So to Ed's point, and especially if indeed we're anticipating from 17 hours to 19 hours, I'm just saying, how do we adjust fees to to offset that so we are net neutral?
Yeah, I'm not sure that that we. Yeah, I'd have to look much deeper. I'd have, Barbara and I would have to take a way deeper dive than what we're talking about.
Right.
For this.
And I asked Barbara for that a while ago, if she could give me some numbers and some true numbers, and whether the transfer station was costing the town money, or if, and in my opinion, it shouldn't be costing the people, the taxpayers, money if they don't use the system.
Right, but you have to then, it's a service to the town in, not dissimilar to the Kent Center School. So there's a lot. I have no kids in the Kent Center School in the educational system, but my taxes are still paying for that. So there's that.
That's because the state laws requires us to pay for help for education. It doesn't require us to get rid of people's garbage.
Yeah, I would say the better correlation would be park and recreation, which is supposed to be net neutral, at least on the at least on the programs they run. The whole concept obviously was to make it net neutral, but it shouldn't be that hard to figure out the shortfall, and B, how much you got to raise the money by the number of people. It's really that simple. If you're going after what Ed's looking at. And I would imagine it's probably not a huge increase in rates. I don't know when the last time we had an increase in rates, but I can't imagine. I can tell you, being a person who is on a private hauling system, the town is providing a considerable deal from a trash removal perspective. Now, granted, you don't have to put the smelly stuff into your car and go somewhere, but it's still, there's a huge difference between what it costs somebody from a private hauler's perspective. So I'm not advocating going as far as what Ed's saying, but I am saying that I do agree that if we want to try to make that net neutral, that's pretty easy to do.
Mm-hmm. And include people's hours, like Joyce's hours and Rick's hours, for checking to see the dumpsters to make sure they're full or empty, or making sure the gate's unlocked if the guy needs to come in to unload it. And I believe there's a truck in the budget, in the capital plan, designed to start hauling some of our recycling to out of town. I think Rick's on. Is that true, Rick? Wasn't there a truck set up so we would haul it ourselves?
No, we didn't have anything for that.
There's nothing in there now? Okay.
No.
All right.
And this private hauler was discussed at multiple other board meetings and, previous boards and everything. And the transfer station's never been really set up to come out ahead or break. It's coming close to break even, but I even complained years ago about it not coming anywhere near breaking even, and they said that didn't matter, that we had to provide the service.
As a town service, right?
Yeah, but, I mean, you could do curbside as a town service. It's not like you have to have the facility, but now that you have it, you know,
Right, and it'd be similar even if we went to curbside, if, so you just force everybody to take curbside?
That's the way.
What you, way Warren and Goshen.
Yep.
Or what I've recommended the last administration is that maybe we try to actually sell it more than it has been done. Right now, we put it out as a service, and it's sort of like, yeah, but I don't think people truly appreciate
Right.
the other options and opportunities that you have down there.
Right.
And there has been no effort, and I asked Bruce this a number of years ago, an effort to actually reach out to the business communities, not the food services, but like the offices like mine and a few other places that are just throwing paper and cardboard and, you know, some office stuff. And you can pay them, they can pay a higher rate. They can pay a commercial rate. And
Right.
that would greatly increase revenue. I wouldn't say greatly, but it could potentially increase revenue nicely.
Yes.
Um,
There are opportunities to increase revenue. I get a regular number of phone calls weekly from people wanting to just use the transfer station one time. They're cleaning up their parents' house and they want to come bring bulky. People who are part-timers who only come a very sort of compacted time, one weekend a month. They wanted to know if there's a what's the word? Prorated rate. You know, there's nothing to say why couldn't we have, you know, a permit that's a full use permit that's $150, but then have a, you know, once a month or some other prorated permit that only allows for municipal solid waste once a month, or only allows use of the transfer station, you know, a prorated amount. There's also, you know, there's a number of other opportunities. And it's also, remember, you know, I've heard from other towns, oh, you take mattresses. Can I come and, I have the mattress and my mattress company will take the mattress. Can we come drop it off with you all? So there are, you know, services that are available to people that aren't available in other towns that do have just curbside because they charge extra for, you know, incremental things, whereas we charge extra for bulky, but not for a lot of the other items.
And my other question is, were you done, Gene?
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt. Right now, it's only limited to the owner of the trash to bring their own trash to the recycling center, correct?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The old days,
Honors,
ran the
don't go
problem
No.
of stopping it.
like hang on.
Go ahead.
If the household has a permit, anybody can bring it.
Right.
But that won't work if we switch to a license plate program where someone's coming with one. What I'm saying is one person in town allowed to go and pick up 8 people's trash and bring it to the transfer station and collect a fee from them for doing that?
If each house has a permit, they are.
Okay.
The permit
That's
does
fine.
not say, it says there has to be a permit for each residence. It doesn't say that one person can't bring it all for their friends. So you just have to, if you
What
see
I'm saying-
somebody truckload after truckload, you gotta, you know, question them, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was asked me the other day, if they hired someone to collect their garbage and bring it to the transfer station, is that allowed?
As long as they're permitted, yes.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you.
I think this all starts from what we're trying to deal with on the actual employment sheet, correct? And
Yep.
we're kind of getting into redoing the transfer station, and I think we need to move away from that. I'd like to come back to things that correlate specifically to the people hours involved in this and the job description. So I think we should be working towards keeping the people hours as close to what they are now as possible. And if that means shifting some of these responsibilities or technologically making them smoother, I would advocate for that and really figuring out how to do that. In addition to, if we have to increase hours because we have to find somebody, or we don't want to offload these, or we can't streamline these as well, and we need additional revenue, I would go to what Eddie was saying, which is basically, let's go find the money from the people who use it and offset it that way. But I think it feels good to me to have some sort of control within the selectman's office to do the, if not doing the sheets, certainly overseeing them and making sure they're in properly. And technologically, the transfer station manager had a cell phone, correct? A town issued cell phone. The town issued cell phone is a smartphone?
Yep.
Okay, a smartphone can do just as much, and you don't need Wi-Fi. Unless cell service is really bad underneath that cell tower, which actually happens. It actually happens. So, but I can't speak to it. But I would think we would be able to find somebody who, if using a town-issued smartphone, be able to check license plates, to be able to collect money, or confirm that money was collected. And that's what I would hope we could try to reduce job man hours there and not increase them.
I agree. So we can, because we're also mid-budget season. And I think we really should try to stick to we're between a rock and a hard place a little bit, because we want to keep to the hours that are budgeted. And so hiring for that number of hours, we may need to pull a couple things back out of this. But then for the next budget cycle, I think it makes sense to expand on some, the analysis, there are a couple other things, but then is that person going to be able to expand with the new duties that we're looking to expand to? So
well, I think we should keep it at the 17 hours that we've had it at, correct? Is that the hours?
Yep.
I think we should do that. I think we should increase the example of duties as we have done. I think that, however, and run it through this budget season. I think coming for the next budget season, however, we should really try to fine tune the responsibilities here and offload them, the ones that I think specifically are less important for a manager to be able to do on site, i.e. collect money, i.e. Figure out the bringing money and all the other jobs that we could do in-house. And I would suggest that we try to do that in-house and alleviate that and keep that 17 hours as best as possible, and then have the transfer station manager really doing more of the, we need to do this and we need to do that, and focus on those components. That's just my
yeah, that's a good direction.
sensibilities say that would be the best move.
Yep.
But I don't mind having this right now.
And is all the highway crew that are working there, is that coming out of the transfer station budget, or is that coming out of the highway budget?
No, it's coming out of the transfer station budget.
That way, at least it'll show it.
So no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so that's, that budget's gonna be negatively impacted for this year. But the mission was to keep the transfer station open, as a town service, and for most 800 permit holders having no other place to, put their garbage, that was important. And part of the reason why I'm there every weekend too. So it's not one more, highway guy.
And when do you plan on hiring people so those guys can not have to do that every weekend.
So we have 2 new people who started, Aspen Polly started this past Saturday.
Yeah.
Mike Vaca started the Sunday prior to that. So they're,
Yep.
you know, I anticipate hopefully we'll get if we approve this, I'll put it on Indeed tonight and see where we go. But, you know, as quickly as we can get those the road guys, you know, out of so much
Yep.
overtime.
Yep, let's get them out.
And then, you know, get their weekends back to them.
Sure.
The better. And
Joyce,
they've been
I'm
actually
sorry.
great for the new people to, you know, to train under. Sorry, go ahead, Chris.
I'm sorry. Joyce, is there anything else that you see that might need to be put in here?
Not at this time. I think it's going to be a working document. I don't think that this is the final draft.
All right, then let's move this thing through. Thank you.
Let's get a motion.
I so moved.
Second. Anything more to to discuss? Ed, you got anything else, or are we good to go?
I'm good to go.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Terrific. So we'll get this posted tonight on Indeed and on the town website and put it out on social media and get some candidates coming through.
Good.
Joyce, oh, you good, Chris?
Yep.
We need to go into executive session. So I will move to go into executive session to discuss Highway Department employee health benefits at 3:49.
Second.
Need a second.
Aye.
Joyce, can you handle the technical
Yeah.
folks
So
out into?
you need to, can you take that off the screen, Jean, so I can have my people
I'm
back?
sorry.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, sorry.
Thank
There you
you.
go.
Is Rick staying?
I